Hi everyone, welcome. I just finished homeschooling my own little cherubs, and yesterday we talked about the 3 S's, and the 3 S's were schedule, space, and subjects. And remember, don't stress out, just a little bit at a time. Just work with your own children and whatever schedules work out for you. Fill your cup first. Do what you like to do in the morning. If you like to take a walk or exercise, make sure you get what you need first and then start with your children next, because after all, you have all day. So I asked you to gather your games and anything that you had in your house, because chances are you're not going to be copying things and worksheets from the internet, which brings us to our 3 tips. So tip number 1. Today we're going to talk about the difference between active and passive learning. And I really want to make this very clear for you. I love the internet. I use the internet. I love things online. As an educator, there's lots of wonderful resources. But I want to make this very clear for you. There's a huge difference in the way our children learn between active and passive learning. We now have a wonderful opportunity to have a lot of active learners. So think about this. The way that you grew up, we did a lot of active learning and active engaging. Think about if your parents had to homeschool you for several months. Think about that, what that might look like. They wouldn't have the internet. We have a lot of resources available to us. And I know there's a lot going on Facebook saying, all the different resources that are available. I think those are wonderful resources. I'm not saying that those are not. But if we just turn and look at what we have inside our homes, I think we have a lot of things that are good that we might overlook. So the first thing is, let's think about the difference between active and passive learning. There are a lot of great games that you might already own that will help our kids keep up on our skills. You don't necessarily have to teach your children anything new during this time. All you need to do is keep them up on the skills that they already have. So for example, any card games, we happen to have multiplication war. You can also just play war. We have some dice games, or you can just pull the dice out of games. I'll also just do a whole video just on different dice games where you can do addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. That'll be another day. Yahtzee is a great game for math skills. Another great game for math skills is Battleship. Battleship is all coordinate placement. So if you have Battleship, let your kids play Battleship and reinforce their math skills. Here's another one, Quirkle, another great game for math skills. I happen to have a couple different multiplication, addition, subtraction bingos. If you have just regular bingo, you can also make those addition, subtraction bingos. You can make them different kinds of bingos as well, whatever your kids need. My 2 children have learning differences, so we also have prefix and suffix bingos because they have a language deficit as well. Getting back to math, Monopoly is great for money. So counting back the change, setting up the bank, that's another one to reinforce those math skills for money. If you don't have Monopoly, you probably have Life. So either one of those. In terms of language, here's a Scrabble. So you probably have some kind of a Scrabble game or some kind of a language game that you have at home, something for words. So just check your closets and see what you have for games so that you can actively engage with your students in terms of games. They're going to get plenty of screen time during this break. And so we're not worried about that because we know that schools are going to send online assignments eventually and things like that. But there are a lot of good ways to engage with your students actively. Pictionary is another great one we just played last night. Not only artistic skills, but just in terms of imagination, thinking, guessing, just again, keeping our students guessing and thinking. And so all of these games, we used to play a lot more games back in my generation, and we've kind of gotten away with that. In terms of our generation now, we're much more online and electronic, and the kinds of thinkers that we need are students that can play games. So this is a great opportunity for us to play games. So there you go. You don't have to do any planning for that. Go to your closet and take out any games. Cards, if you don't have any games, if you don't own any games, that's fine, cards. I also do a lot with poker chips. So we did this morning for math, poker chip addition, subtraction with poker chips. And again, I can show this online how this is done. But there's a lot that can be done with just having a die and addition, subtraction, poker chips, addition, subtraction with a number line. So take what you have and find a way to make it active and useful, and the kids will be excited about that. Which brings me to my tip number 2. And tip number 2 is your kids want to be with you. So even though we may feel at times we don't want to be with our children because we're stressed and we're worried about what's going on, there's constantly an update from maybe your state government, and there's constantly an update from the White House, where we want to get to the TV and we want to see what's going on. We're worried about our finances. We're worried about our spouse or our loved ones or our parents or etc. Our kids want to be with us. So that's something we need to take in and think about. They sense that there's a crisis going on right now in the world, and there's no place better that our children want to be than with you. So think about that. So when your child is on your nerves, which they will be, think about that. There is no place that they would rather be than with you. So let's recap. 1, you don't have to teach your child anything new over the break. All you have to do is engage them in some kind of active learning versus passive. If all they're doing is on the internet and on the iPad, that's only passive learning. It's better to get some kind of active learning along with the passive. And number 2, your kids want to be with you. So this is a great opportunity for them to be with you. So it's normal for you to feel like your kids are wanting a lot from you, because they're going to be wanting a lot from you just emotionally right now. And so some of you may be working from home, some of you may not be working from home right now, but as soon as you can turn your focus into your child, and you and your relationship with your child can be 100%, then you will see that relationship change in terms of the attention that you can give to each other, and you will see that behaviors will reduce. You will see that the time and attention that you can give one another will be better, because you are what each other has, essentially. And so that active involvement will be key. So 1 and 2 feed off each other. And number 3 is independence is the key to raising any child. We want our children to be independent. So children will rise to the level of our expectations. And so we want to be able to teach children to be independent. And the way to teach children to be independent is to communicate our expectations and then to let them rise to that level. Now, I've been doing this homeschooling thing here in a pinch, just like you, but I've been doing it probably a little bit longer, probably for a week. So children get used to the routine. If you haven't started yet, you will notice that after 5 days or so, kids are going to get used to it. Here's my story from today. I start my kids off with their math first. That's just my choice. And you don't even have to do every subject every day. You can pick one subject for one day. That's your choice. Here's my choice. This is what I choose to do with my family. I start my kids off with my math. They have their math folders. They know what they need to do because my directions are written up in the front of the math folder for them. I jump in the shower and they start. So I have 2 kids, 2 elementary boys, and they help each other with their math. They know they can use their calculators if they need to. They know where their math tools are. I come out of the shower and then I help where they need help in their math on their math papers. So I'm teaching them to be independent and to get started with their math. And I'm also teaching them to ask for help when they need help on the places that they'll need help in the math. Teaching them that they can get started and get going, that they don't need mom, that they don't need to sit there and say, Mom, I can't do this. If you've ever had a child saying, Mom, you know, it's pretty annoying. So that is my expectation for my children, and that's what I've communicated to them. You are expected to get started. Mom is in the shower. When I come out, I expect you to tell me what you need help with, and I'll help you complete your math. And after you have completed your math paper, then we play a math game. And so that's how our morning begins. I hope these 3 things have helped you. And just to recap, the 3 things are: remember active versus passive learning. Number 2, your kids want to be with you. So use this time to bond again in that relationship. And remember that you are your child's comfort in this time of chaos. And so our kids only want to be with us, whether they're learning or not learning. That's the most important thing. They want us. And number 3 is independence. And how can you foster independence in your own home and help kids learn? This is a great opportunity for them to start to take steps towards being more independent while being at home. Thanks. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.